Morning all. Just want to talk about what I witnessed last night on BBC Question Time. Basically, they're in Boston. Boston's a smallish town. In the last few years, has seen a massive changes. Basically, its fabric's been destroyed. They've had Eastern Europeans flooding in, obviously, to work on the farms and other agricultural pursuits. The official figures are a lot lower. Basically, there's been 20,000 or more Eastern Europeans flood into the place, and it's put pressure on schools, housing, hospitals, getting seen, doctors, stuff like that. You wouldn't know it, by the way, if you were on the watching Question Time last night. Even in a place like that, that's been so badly affected by the surge in the recent immigration over the last few years, even on that panel, there were just one or two token UKIP supporters. Basically, the whole audience are upset. BBC lovies and Labourites and Liberals, the usual, or what you've come to expect from the BBC, to be honest. Biased broadcasting corporation, anti-establishment, anti-British, basically racists. A lot of them. They hate this country. They're a bunch of Marxists. But anyway, so Nigel Farage was on last night, and the RC was getting attacked from all angles. What's going on in this country at the minute? We've got the deficit is huge. We got 1.7 trillion pounds in debt. We are. Because of our promise to pensions and other stuff that we're going to pay, that figure is actually about 5 trillion. What's happening? We basically, our economy is we're in debt to the tune of 10 times what our economy is actually worth. I think something like 980% GDP. Anyway, basically, for the last few years, interest rates have been running at an all-time low. We've seen a steady decline over the years, and they've fallen from the bad old days in the 70s when the UK was a sick man of Europe. Anyway, interest rates 2%. So the government are borrowing money to service our debt. We're falling more and more behind. I mean, Cameron, since he's been in power, has added more than the previous Labour administration to the. So he's more than doubled what we're already in debt. The debt is not getting smaller; it's just growing and growing. That's okay, and we can keep things normal while we're able to borrow money at 2%. Now, the minute, and it's going to change because things are changing economically. China's going into recession. The minute interest rates start to rise, and they are going to, when people say, "Whoa, you're borrowing too much, you're not paying back enough," interest rates are going to go up to curb that borrowing. If it rises, if it was to double the interest rate, say it went to something like 4%, it would it'd be apocalyptic. It'd absolutely wipe us out. We wouldn't be out. We'd end up worse than Greece. If you think Greece was bad, man, you ain't seen nothing yet. Seriously, we'd default on all our debts. We'd be blown out of the water. There'd be power cuts, there'd be people on the streets, because soon after that, when people aren't getting their money, there'd be a run on the banks, people be queuing at the banks like Greece to get their money out. The first thing, when the shit hits the fan, the first thing the government will do, it has to be seen to be doing something. What it'll do, it'll seize everybody's assets, the people's assets, people's savings, their money that's in the bank. That'll be the first thing, they'll be the first people they go for, not the rich corporations. It'll be me and you. So I'm warning you now, this is coming, by the way. This is coming. I'm going to now buy myself a generator, because there's going to be power cuts and all sorts. I'm going to buy a generator, I'm going to get my money out of the bank, because you'll be queuing for days and there'll be no guarantees you'll be able to even get your money. A lot of people are going to lose a fortune. It's going to destroy this country, and it's coming, trust me. In the next 12 months to 18 months, this is happening. Big time, you better believe it. You heard it here now. It is happening. So I'm looking this weekend into to moving my savings, getting them out of the bank anyway, bankers, trust me. They're a bunch of crooks, the bankers. All they care about, all the central banks are owned by the Rothschild Zionists, and trust me, they're coming for you. What happens soon after that you'll see a breakdown in society. When people get shafted like that and they can't live, you see people committing suicide like Greece, you see riots in the street, people breaking in people's homes, robbing people to eat, robbing their, basically everything that they've got, their fuel. It's going to be a fucking nightmare. Thanks Cameron, fuckers. It's I'm really worried about it, to be honest, and even now, last night, after watching that programme on Question Time, even now after all that's gone on in the last few years, a massive surge, massive immigration, even now we're not allowed to talk about immigration. It is an absolute joke. Even now you've got lobbyies in on there. I'll tell you what, they're in for a shock, because if they think, BBC, they can go along with this agenda, this pro-EU agenda, just having the token one or two UKIP supporters and people that are anti-EU in there, and basically getting their lobbyies in, it's not proportionate to what the country feels, and when you start to lose your voice, that's when trouble starts to brew. But I'll tell you what, they're in for a massive wake-up call. When they, especially when the European elections are next May 2014, we'll see then. We will have our say, trust me. We will have a say, and they're going to absolutely regret this, because this is how people are feeling, the strength of feeling now in this country. I go all around this country, talk to so many people, I try to promote UKIP brand, because I firmly believe, for my daughter's sake and for this country's sake, I love my country, I want the best for it and its people, and we deserve so much better than the fucking tosh that we've had for the last 20 odd years. They're an absolute bunch of traitors, a lot of them, and it's about time people woke up and smelled the coffee and saw these fuckers for what they are. All they are, a bunch of freeloading criminals, thugs. They try to censor people that are speaking the truth. They make criminals of people who are speaking the truth. It's mad. It's absolutely mad. True revelation now is speaking the truth. I mean, what does that say about society, eh? What does that say? It's an absolute shocker. Stick with me, folks. These videos are gonna keep coming. They're not gonna silence us. But take my advice, and I only want the best for people. I don't want people getting ripped off. So anyway, speak again soon. Cheers. Ta-la.